Hello and welcome to the One Life Church devotional series where we cover the entire Bible in 20 months. Well, today's chapters are Hebrews chapter 11 and Proverbs chapter 6. Now, I'm here at the Maritzburg airport, hardly an international airport, but I'm going off to Australia. I'm going to go and see some churches out there, and en route I'm stopping off at a massive leadership conference where there'll be hundreds of people who have really living lives of faith. Now, Hebrews chapter 11 is about that. It's about a list of people who are living lives of faith and what God commends them for. So he says, now faith is confidence of what we hope for and the assurance of what we do not see. In other words, faith is more substantial than a vain hope. It's a confidence that God's going to come through. And so all these people have had confidence that God will come through in various areas of their lives. And it says in verse 6, and without faith, it's impossible to please God. You see, the alternative to faith is trusting yourself. The alternative to faith is a splendid independence that puts you at the pinnacle of your life. Because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and he rewards those who seek him. God wants us to trust him, wants us to pursue him, wants us to go after him. Now, Hebrews chapter 11, as I said, lists dozens of people who trusted God for kids and for victories and for health and for long life and for these were all commended for their faith. And yet, listen what it says here. Yet none of them received what had been promised. Not all of them went to heaven having seen everything they had faith for come to fruition. And that's the mystery of our Christian walk, isn't it? We trust God, we live our lives trusting him implicitly, but it's all ultimately in his hands. Now, Proverbs chapter 6, again, a father talking to his son, and he says, my son, if you have put up security for your neighbor, if you've shaken hands and pledged with a stranger, you've been trapped by what you've said. He said, basically, if you've put up security, you've put up suretyship for a stranger, and they've got you into trouble. He says, so do this. Go to the point of exhaustion and give your neighbor no rest. This is verse 3. Free yourself like a gazelle from the hand of a hunter. Work as hard as you can to get out of that mess that you've got yourself in. Standing surety for someone you don't know, silly idea. How long will you lie there, sluggard? And when will you get up from your sleep? A little slumber, a little folding of the hands, and poverty will come upon you like a thief. And so the psalmist is urging the young boy, get up and work, boy, and get out of that debt that you found yourself in. Luke, our young guy who asked questions, says, in verse 16, it says, there are 6 things God hates, 7 that are detestable. What's the detestable one? Well, when the Bible writes it that way, it normally is 6 things God doesn't like, and then the 7th, that's the one that's detestable. And that one is a person who stirs up conflict within a community. And he's basically saying, listen, live at peace with people around you. And he ends off by saying, stay away from your neighbor's wife. You can commit other sins. In fact, it even says, we can understand if someone steals because they're hungry. But someone who commits adultery stirs up a problem in the neighborhood and brings all sorts of trouble upon themselves, shame and a husband's fury. Don't do that, my boy. This is a father talking to his son saying, work hard, stay away from another person's wife, and trust God.